And embracing that uncertainty is actually the creative process. That's what gives you the juice to go.
There's no mistake if you can't resolve it, whether it's in your music or in your life. And sometimes the mistake elevates you into a different circumstance that can be better. What you hope to be in is complete, total concentration. And when it hits, it's great. If you're in what we call the zone.
When I was playing with Charles Mingus, 24-year-old hayseed in New York City, which I was, playing with these giants, I was in the middle of playing my French horn, and the cash register went, blah, 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 blick a ding! And I went, ooh. I got confused. Mingus said, come on, man. He said, don't pay any mind to that cash register. He said, next time that happens, play off the cash register. I said, what? He said, use that as part of the music. If you're playing, piano player goes blockety-block, the drum is going, and you hear bucket-a-bucket-ding, put that into the music and answer it. Go bit-it-boo-boo-bong.
Collaboration is really sharing a philosophical platform, so, we have something in common there, and to have elective affinities. A collaboration doesn't mean really holding a pencil with two hands, on each other, fighting, this way, that way, and so. The inspiration comes out completely from the problem at hand.
Exactly.
So it's amazing. Every problem, every issue we call it problems. Every project, every situation has its own peculiarities, and automatically triggers a way to interpret that or to solve that.
Far more interesting than problem solving is problem creation. How do you back yourself into a corner where nobody else's answers are applicable, where nothing else fits? And if you ask yourself an interesting enough question, your solution will by nature be personal.
Your best work is your expression of yourself. Now, you may not be the greatest at it, but when you do it, you're the only expert in it. When I teach students in architecture, I try to get them to understand that they have a signature. Their body, their hand-eye coordination, their biological whatever makeup does make them write their name differently than I write my name.
Education can sometimes avoid that you discover yourself. And then you go the way you were taught, instead of discovering what you really want to do.
Uyabona le mvale bekade kungcono ngoba mawu uthuma mhlawumbe uthuma umntwana uyakhamba ukwenza leyo ntwana yenza nje uyakhamba ukwenza leyo uyayibona nda.
I hate to say this because it's discouraging perhaps for some young people who are looking for a quick fix to write. If you're going to be a writer, it's like if you're going to be an opera singer. An opera singer, I'm sure, is born with special vocal cords, and you could have as many singing lessons for the rest of your life and you will never be an opera singer. Now, you will never be a writer unless you are born with certain qualities.
Stand-up comedy, it's not a choice you make to do. It chooses you. I was doing it when I was a little boy at school, and then when I was an apprentice welder, I was trying to be a funny apprentice welder. When I was in the army, I was trying to be a funny soldier.
There has to be a certain gift in place, and there has to be a certain intellect in place. You can't get to wonderful without passing through all right. You can't skip from not being able to function all the way over to running the whole show.
And if you happen to have talent, then you take that technique somewhere with your talent and you create new things. Often you reject all of the technique, like in panning, you pan and you reject everything. But I mean, the fact of rejecting, imply that you have acquired it. Otherwise, there is nothing to reject. There is no way that we can escape ourselves. If I give you a recipe and I give 5 people the same recipe, I will have 5 different dishes on the table. I mean, there is no way to escape it. If you have 5 people with the same partition of music playing the same piece, you will hear different sound.
Nobody can teach me who I am. You can describe parts of me, but who I am and what I need, these are things I have to find out myself.
If a person is confident enough in the way they feel or the way they're doing or whatever, whether it's an art form or whether it's just in life, I mean, it comes off fine. You don't have anything to prove or anything to say. You can just be what you are. And that's, I hate to simplify it down to just be yourself, but that's, then people say, well, who am I? Who is myself?
There are times when I would like to be somebody else. I just don't have any other option, you know. Only choice we really have is to be us. We can make attempts at, you know, some of the most frustrating lives are people who can't come to grips with who they are.
My work is an outgrowth of who I am rather than the reason for who I am. We're brought up in a culture where you are what you do. People say, tell me about yourself. You immediately go into your career as if that is a complete and perfect definition of what and who you are.
There's a thing in Buddhism that says, find what you should be doing and do it. And I think it baffles a lot of people, except people who actually did it, who actually were lucky enough to find what they should be doing. And I try to tell my children, I say, just try and see what you're drawn to. When you do something that you feel vocationally drawn to, it's not like a job. It's like what you should be doing. It's your raison d'etre. It's the reason to wake up. And you wake up feeling good in the morning.
Work imposes itself on you as part of its power. You respect it, or you fight with it all your life. If you are grabbed by art, I think you should do whatever comes best to you, whether it's a novel or a play or a song, doesn't matter that much as the fact that you are doing something about the situation.
Albert Camus put it best. He said, the day when I am only a writer, I shall cease to be a writer. You have responsibility as a human being. You can't shut yourself up with your computer in an ivory tower or whatever, an air-conditioned room, it would be the equivalent nowadays, yes. You belong in the world, you have responsibility. You have to have this extreme alertness. You have to have your ears wide open and your eyes wide open.
If you want to either engage in or create public discourse, I would say do it through the work. If it becomes provocative enough to get people to talk about it, that's probably the best. I think that separating yourself out from your work, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Art represents freedom. If you succeed in confining art to galleries, to the stage, to the concert hall, of course it's active. But that's the primary level of activity. A secondary level, when art becomes part and parcel of society, now that is a dangerous one.
You can, through art, transform your specific condition. It is so clear to me because I was born in a system where that had to be created in the culture.
The community is really an essential ingredient. If I were on a desert island, I would not be one of those artists who poked a hole in his arm with a stick and drew in blood on the back of a leaf. You know, I make work for other people to look at. I mean, I don't do it for therapy. I go to therapy for therapy.
Take your profession seriously. Don't take yourself seriously. If you take yourself seriously, you're not going to be able to move forward and use your best artistic instincts. You're going to be hampered by always wanting to look in the mirror and see if you have enough tuna oil on your hair or something like that.
People have said if you take freedom out of my songs, I'd be speechless, you know, because so many of them deal with that. It was always something I was fighting for in my own personal life. Freedom represented the freedom to be the human being I thought I was supposed to be.
Music transcends all the barrier. Scientists have proved how it can help blood pressure. It has effect on animals, on plants. To me, music is an addiction. It is just like the ecstasy of finding gems in the vast ocean.
There's a million things that I can do with my creative energy. And if I ever feel that one particular part of my energy is not, awake today, then I'll use another part of my energy. So I've never had writer's block, because if I ever thought that I don't want to write today and I'm just not in the mood, that I'll do something else.
The core of it is I care so much about my work. And I can't take it lightly. I've got certain litmus tests, you might say, that if I'm working on something, it keeps me awake at night. And I keep hearing it. It's a good sign.
Paint a leaf or a twig or a piece of dung from a horse. Doesn't matter. It's the shadow it casts. It can be wonderful. I mean, talking to you here, I see the quality of your eyes. You've got amazing expression across here. Well, that'll stay in my vision a long time. And it may come out, I may be painting a bird looking at me, and I'll think of your eyes.
If you put very, very little things on a page, you leave lots of room for the imagination. For me, that has always been the most important thing, the simplicity, and the most difficult thing, I must say.
The moment we were gifted with words, we simultaneously received imagination. We could ask a single sentence, which is called "What if?" That's what it's all about. It's about continuity, telling the story of our people. We don't exist without each other.
It's awfully sad that with our clever brain, capable of taking us to the moon, developing all these sophisticated ways of communicating around the planet, that we seem to have lost wisdom. And that's the wisdom of the indigenous people, who would make a major decision based on how will this decision affect our people 7 generations ahead. And we're making decisions based on the bottom line. How will this affect me now, me and my family now? How will this huge decision affect the next shareholders meeting 3 months ahead? How will this decision I make today affect my election campaign? So although we think we're caring about our children and grandchildren, we're actually stealing their future.
Now that the green moment has arrived, I hope this doesn't become what happens to a lot in America, which is things go into fashion quick. If this thing becomes fashionable, if the word green becomes fashionable, we're going to have a problem. So I hope before too long we can take this headline, global warming, climate change, and break it down into specifics where people can get excited about what they can do about it rather than just saying doom and gloom, global warming.
There's little things that we can do. As one person, plastic bags, start using the same bag every day that you can wash. Don't run the water, take shorter showers. Try to walk more, try to go transportation on a bicycle more. Try to do little things in a daily way as a human being makes a big difference over time because it has a cumulative effect.